Hi, my name is Roop Rai. If you live in Calgary, you know that the city election is coming up on October the 18th. And if you live in Ward 10 of Calgary, or if you know someone who lives in Ward 10, this video is for you. I spoke to Councillor candidate ABED HARB, and this is what he had to say. Hi, Abed. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to me today.
Thanks for having me. We're out door knocking today, but I really wanted to chat with you and your audience, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Like I told you earlier, I have not spoken to anyone in a car. It looks amazing. It looks like a little space shuttle, actually.
Yeah, well, it's a normal Ford SUV, but the way the window is up here, we gave it that extra effect. But you know, it's really important right now. It's the final week of the campaign. We're out with the teams, we're hitting the doors, we're engaging with Calgarians and residents of Ward 10 and letting them know who I am, why they should vote for me, and making sure that our area gets the attention that it deserves.
And that's exactly what I'm going to ask you as well today. You have a stellar resume. You have a double degree. You have experience in the oil and gas sector here in Calgary, and your role as an advisor to the Minister of Agriculture in Ottawa. But why make the career transition from your work with the federal government to become a councillor in City of Calgary in Ward 10?
The reason why I'm running is because I'm sick and tired of this area being neglected at City Hall. The city always seems to have money for downtown, for the Southwest and the Northwest. But when it comes to Ward 10, which is mostly Northeast Calgary, south of McKnight, north of Memorial, east of Deerfoot, and it includes Coral Springs. When it comes to Ward 10, they say they have no money. I was born and raised in this area, and I know all we want is to be treated fairly. We don't want more than other neighborhoods, but right now we're getting a lot less, and that's not right. Like you said, I currently I'm on leave from my role as a senior advisor to the Minister of Agriculture. Before that, I worked in the energy sector at Enbridge, where I worked on business development, mergers and acquisitions, and market access. I also worked a few years at the Canada Revenue Agency, so I understand how the government works and how the private sector works. We didn't mind as taxpayers using our tax dollars to help Calgary when it was growing, but now it's our turn to get some money back into our communities. Downtown looks nice, Southwest looks nice, Northwest looks nice. Ward 10 hasn't changed in over 30 years. And so when the previous councillor retired, I thought this was an exciting opportunity to use my unique skill set in a way where I could help more people, more Calgarians. I was born and raised here. Growing up, when I was I grew up in the ward, went to Pearson High School, went to university living in the ward, even went to elementary, junior high. So I grew up around people from all walks of life, all different communities. And we all got along. We were all friends. We didn't really have that, well, you're from here and I'm from there. We were all Calgarians from diverse backgrounds. And so when I had an opportunity to represent such a diverse riding, to run for a position to represent such a diverse riding, I jumped right in because I feel like we need someone who's going to fight for this area, someone who truly cares about this area, and someone who's willing to get things done.
What are the communities in Ward 10?
So Ward 10 starts off in Coral Springs on the north side, and then it goes down. So Coral Springs, Monterey, Temple, Whitehorn, Pine Ridge, Rundle, Marlborough, Marlborough Park, Abbeydale, Mayland Heights, and Vista Heights.
And like you said, Ward 10 hasn't had a dedicated representative since Councillor Ray Jones retired last year in October. How would you say that impacted Ward 10 and its residents?
Well, I think, he announced his retirement when there was less than 1 year left. And because it was less than 1 year, instead of the city going to a by-election, they actually decided to split his ward into two pieces. The north side went to George Chahal, and the south side went to John Carlo Carra. The problem of Ward 10 being neglected isn't a problem over the last couple of years. It's a systemic problem. It's a problem for decades. And like I said previously, we as taxpayers didn't mind using our tax dollars to help Calgary grow. In the 80s and early 90s, Ward 10 received a lot of investments. I remember there literally wasn't a Ward 5 at the time. Calgary stopped at Falcon Ridge and Castle Ridge. There was nothing north of those communities. But over the last 20, 30 years, There's been a lot of development north of McKnight, north of 64th. And so we didn't mind helping the city grow. But now we're at a critical point in our infrastructure's life cycle where the city needs to start reinvesting more there. So this isn't something that's a short term. This was a long-term systemic problem that's been around for 15 plus years.
What are the most important issues that you're hearing at the doors when you're outdoor knocking like you are today?
I think the three most important issues, one, obviously COVID is top on people's mind. Two is our economy, making sure that we bounce back and we create more jobs. And three is crime. As we all know, there is a crime problem in Ward 10 throughout the Northeast, throughout the city, but particularly on the Northeast part. So those are the top three issues that I hear a lot about.
Absolutely. The major conversations that the new council will be having post-election will be centered around the city services versus property taxes, which I believe everyone in the city has been impacted by the hike in property taxes, and a revitalization of downtown core. That is the buzz phrase this election. Everyone's been talking about it, about the vacancy rate in downtown, and of course, the impact of the urban sprawl. How do you feel that the residents in Ward 10 have been impacted by these issues, and what is your stance on them going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, like you said, everyone is really consumed and concerned with the vacancy rate in downtown Calgary. We have a vacancy rate of approximately 33%. That means 33% of the towers that we see in downtown are empty. That's something that's concerning. Because of that vacancy rate, the value of those buildings in the downtown core have diminished, and as a result, the city is collecting less tax revenue. The previous city council, or the current city council, has decided to increase the taxes on property tax and small business tax. But I'm in favor of increasing the tax base and not the tax rate. Now, what do I mean by that? I worked in the energy sector. I know how important the energy sector is. Excuse me. I know how important the energy sector is for Calgary's economy. We must do everything we can to get our energy workers back to work, but at the same time, we must recognize that we cannot be overly reliant on one sector. We must do a better job of diversifying our economy. By diversifying our economy, then we stop to be held. Right now we boom and bust on the oil cycle, which is not healthy for us in the long term. Calgary Economic Development issued a report recently that talked about the 7 core industries that are going to lead to economic growth in Calgary. Of those 7 core industries, 3 are sectors where Calgary has a comparative advantage in. One, energy. As the world moves away from fossil fuel and into more clean, green, renewable energy, we have the opportunity to be a real global leader in that space. I know firsthand that there are a lot of major energy companies in Calgary that are taking the bull by the horn and that are making a lot of investments, that are putting their money where their mouth is and investing in clean, green, renewable energy. 2 is transportation and logistics. We are uniquely positioned in North America to be a hub for logistics and transportation. With our CP and CN rail lines, we have quick access to the West Coast, to the California markets, to Eastern Canada, and to the Eastern Seaboard. Very few areas, cities in North America have that type of access, so we're really blessed. We're already starting to see logistics and transportation companies come to Calgary, to come move their offices to Calgary because they see how much potential is in this city for that. Third, agri-food and agribusiness. As the senior advisor to the Minister of Agriculture, I can tell you we have a tremendous amount of opportunity and potential in that space. Canada currently exports $74 billion of Canadian agriculture every year. And with the world's population expected to grow by 1 billion over the next 20, 25 years, give or take, we can really be the breadbasket for the world. What we need to do more of is value added processing. Right now, we export our agriculture. The vast majority is exported in raw material form. It would be nice if we could do more value added here, put it in boxes, add some herbs, some spices, and customize it for different parts of the world. Now, those are the 3 that we have a comparative advantage in. And tech, wasn't specifically mentioned in this, because tech is the one that feeds through all of the sectors that gives us that comparative advantage. Now, I am confident that Calgary's best years are still ahead of us. We live in the best city, in the best province, in the best country in the world. I'm sure that Calgary will continue to grow, but we're going to have to work that much harder. It's not going to be as easy as it was in the past where it was just oil and gas. We must do a better job in diversifying. And I feel that when we do that, we can add the value back to the downtown buildings, reduce that vacancy rate, and then therefore increase our tax base, not our tax rate, therefore dropping property taxes on people because we get that revenue from the downtown.
And how do you address the urban sprawl?
I think urban sprawl, like Calgary is one of the landmass size biggest cities in North America. On the east side, we're a little bit tighter, but Calgary's definitely long north-south. You have to look at each project on a case-by-case basis. I think we need to start looking at creative ways that we grow upwards and not outwards, but at the same time recognizing in East Calgary, where Ward 10 is, on the other side of Monterey, Stony Trail is there. It's still a really quick drive to downtown. I think north and south, we've really extended really far, but I think there still are some opportunities on the east side. But again, it's on a case-by-case basis. We have to make sure that we're approving the right projects that will help Calgary. Look, Calgary's going to be a city of 2 million people as well over the next couple of decades. So we need to start preparing, and now's the time that we need to get people back to work, working in construction, helping Calgary become the city that we know it will become.
Why should anyone living in Ward 10 vote for ABED HARB?
Well, the reason why I think you should vote for me is because I have the experience that will actually help us deliver tangible results. I have a good job. I'm really blessed to work where I work. But when I saw this opportunity, I said, here is an opportunity where I can work hard to deliver for the residents of Ward 10. Anyone who's lived in Ward 10 for a long time knows how much neglect we get. I've been door knocking for the past 4 months, and like I said before, I'm door knocking right now. And it's amazing how many sidewalks are uneven, are broken, are chipped, how many potholes there are throughout the ward. And when I talk to the residents, they say they speak to city council, they speak to 311, they speak to the city, but the city says they have no money. But you look at other parts of Calgary, they get their roads paved every 2-3 years. They get their sidewalks done much more regular than we get ours. So there is this systemic issue in City Hall where when it comes to Ward 10, people don't give us the attention we deserve. I want to change that. That's why I'm running, and that's why I think you should support me so we can do that and help move Ward 10 forward.
And if someone wants to get in touch with you, how should they?
I encourage everyone to go visit my website at www.VOTEHARB.CA. That's HARB with a B, like Bravo. And you can look me up on Facebook as well. We're really active on Facebook and Instagram. We have a lot of information on my website. I worked a lot on the policy development side of my website, so we have a lot of different ideas that we weren't able to discuss today, but I encourage everyone to go there, and I encourage everyone to vote on Monday, October 18th. If you want to see Ward 10 move forward, if you want to have someone who's going to fight for us, please come out and vote. Tell your family and tell your friends, and let's send City Hall a message. We need some attention. We need some investments. We need to move Ward 10 forward.
I see your volunteers in the back pacing, waiting for you. But before I let you go, if you can tell me one thing that you love about Ward 10.
Oh, I love the people. I love the fact that we have people from all over the world coming together and building this unique cultural mosaic that we have in Calgary. We're really blessed in Ward 10. We have people from all over the world coming together. We get the best of every corner of this earth, the best food and culture and people. We're all coming together as brothers and sisters to help work and build Calgary and make it what it is today. What would Calgary be without the hard work of immigrants, whether they're immigrants from Africa and Asia 10, 15, 20 years ago, or immigrants from Europe or other parts of the world 50, 60 years ago, coming with our Indigenous brothers and sisters to help build this beautiful city.
Well, thank you so much for giving me your time. And also thank you so much for stepping up to run, because it takes a lot of courage. And especially when you said you have a good job, you have a life that you're doing well in, and yet you chose to step up to run. It takes a lot of courage and commitment on your part and on your family's part. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate your kind words.